Taoiseach, on the 18th of June 1994, Ireland played Italy in the World Cup match in Giant Stadium. The Irish team astonished the world by defeating the Italians on that day, and most of the country were immersed in celebrations of that shock result. Now, Loughinisland is a small village in County Down, and on the 18th of June 1994, just like practically every small village in the country, people piled into pubs to watch that match. But at 10:10 on that night, two UVF men, wielding Kalashnikovs in boiler suits, went into that pub, fired 25 shots and killed 6 people and wounded 5 others. Barney Green, 87 years old, Daniel McCrenner, 59 years old, Malcolm Jenkinson, 52 years old, Eamon Byrne, 39 years old, Patrick O'Hare, 35 years old, and Adrian Rogan, 34 years old, were all murdered because they simply frequented a pub that was normally frequented by Catholics, and that they were watching a match where the Republic of Ireland were playing in an international tournament. Now, some people might feel that this is in the past, Taoiseach, but the pain and the hurt and the suffering for those families still go on today, and nobody has been held to account for those murders. Victims, in truth, seem to be the collateral damage of the British dirty war in Ireland. Niall Murphy, a solicitor for the victims, have said that the victims are being let down to this very day because nobody is being held to account for the massacre. He said that Barney Green was the oldest victim of the conflict in the north, but the PSNI and the NOI forced the dying Bridget Green to fight to her last days through the courts for justice for her dead husband. A police ombudsman report in 2016, Dr. Michael Maguire stated, "I have no hesitation in saying collusion was a significant feature of the Loughinisland murders." That report found that the RUC knew the names of the suspects of the killings within 1 day of the massacre, but they delayed in arresting them. The police ombudsman's report also stated that one of the suspects was being run by the RUC as an informant. Now, some may feel, Taoiseach, that this is in the past. But even this weekend, 1,500 people marched in a UVF march in East Belfast in black trousers, white shirts and white ties in East Belfast. These murders are part of a long list of murders that have happened in the north of Ireland of innocent people. And these murders were carried out, I believe, either by the help of the British state or at least were covered up by the British state. And we know that the British Legacy Act, which was passed, was designed to give amnesty to people who carried out murders, to stop families getting to the truth of what happens to their loved ones. Now, thankfully, your government has brought the British government to the European Court of Human Rights in terms of that horrendous particular bill. I would ask you here today, what progress has been made in the Irish government's case against the British government in relation to this?
Thank you, Deputy Taoiseach.
I want to thank Deputy Tobin for raising this important issue, and I join with him in completely condemning what happened there, and indeed I think very much agreeing with him on the point that just because there's a passage of time doesn't mean that issues can be ignored, and doesn't mean that an approach can be taken to any issue that isn't victim-centred and isn't centred in terms of justice, truth and accountability. And I think all parties in this House, and certainly all parties in Northern Ireland, which is a rare enough event, have rightly come together to condemn and oppose the Legacy Act that has been introduced by the British government, because we don't believe it is compliant with agreements that have been reached between the political parties and the governments of Ireland and the UK, because we don't believe it is victim-centred, because it is opposed by every victims' rights group in Northern Ireland, and as I say, it's been opposed by all of the political parties. I think it represents a significant deviation from the approach that has been taken through a whole range of agreements over many years. It was with regret that the Irish government took the decision that we needed to take an interstate case against the United Kingdom. We didn't do that lightly, and we didn't do it without exhausting all of the avenues that were available, diplomatic, political, raising this at British-Irish councils and all of the other places that you'd expect government and government representatives to raise it. But the British government mind was set, and the papers have been lodged. My understanding, and I just don't have my note to hand on it, but my understanding is now that the court is in the first instance considering the case and its admissibility, and then we'll obviously decide on that and how best to proceed. I am conscious there is a British general election on. I'm conscious of not cutting across that, but I'm also aware that there is different views in relation to political parties in the United Kingdom and Britain on this matter as well. But for our part as a government, and I appreciate on this basis all parties here in this Dáil, we will continue to speak out and speak up for victims, for survivors, for the need for justice, for truth, for reconciliation, and for any approach to legacy to be one that has the support of political parties in Northern Ireland, that is compliant with human rights law, and also has the confidence of victims' representative groups and others. And we will take every opportunity, Deputy Tobin, to continue to make that case. I intend to meet with the British Prime Minister after the result of the UK election. I hope to be in a position to do that in July, and this is one of the many issues that I wish to discuss.